Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Monday edition of Moohead Radio. I am Mr. Moohead. I have been Mr. Moohead for many, many decades, and I will continue to be because cows are cows. We can't change our destinies.
Yeah.
Joining me is the moose, and he is a moose.
Oh, yeah.
So he has
Is
that
what it
going
is.
for him. Yeah,
The big antlers,
absolutely. Well, today's program is going to be a very interesting one.
No. When is it interesting?
Well, because I like to try to divert the typical way that people online are discussing Cleveland sports.
Yeah.
I just want to be a voice that has something else to add to the mix.
Other than being whiny bitches like most Cleveland commentators
Right,
are.
There are two teams right now. I'm not even talking about the Guardians because at this point
You're familiar with their work.
I'm familiar. Yeah, and their season is going to begin shortly enough. You have the Cleveland Browns and you have the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And the Cleveland Browns have an incompetent owner who doesn't know what he's doing, who has ruined the fortunes of the franchise while making billions of dollars, has put a sub mediocre product on the field for virtually every year he's been in Cleveland. And the team is in a wipeout position right now where they're desperately trying through free agency to try to put together an offensive line because they had a coach and management who allowed the entire offensive line from sheer age alone to turn into pillars of salt. Okay. And so we're playing catch up ball ever since the whole Deshaun Watson debacle. And that's the Cleveland Browns. On the other side, there's the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the best owner in the city and who is willing to bring talent into the team and who has brought, either through the draft or through trades, helpful people who do what they're paid to do. He has brought an entertaining product to Cleveland and has put Cleveland on the map for the NBA in many different ways. And today's show is to explain something that is hard for me to say, but the realities are what they are. The worst organization in Cleveland with the worst owner is trying at this point to build a new dome and to establish more value in his pocket for his team. And we're in a position where we have some draft picks and we're going to try to put a better product on the field. Everybody's expectations are exceedingly low for the Cleveland Browns. They are every year. They're the laughing stock or one of the laughing stocks of the NFL. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a team that after last year was expected to make the playoffs, and they're a team that has been the focus of a lot of conversation on the national media front, and not in a totally flattering way. Today, I differentiate these two organizations by saying, in my heart, right now, in my heart, I don't feel that there is a substantial difference between the circumstances of these teams. I have no more faith in one than I do in the other for different reasons. But you get this feeling that washes over you from watching game after game. And then you say, well, fans, including myself, we tend to lean on the negative side. And so I want to take a deep breath and I want to, really look at what's happening here and why it's happening. And so today's program starts out with an explanation as to what has happened to the Cleveland Cavaliers, why it might be happening, and why getting your hopes up and pretending that this team is a deep playoff run team is absolute nonsense. And as much as I want it to be, because I'm not going to sit there like, Jason Lloyd bad mouthing Shadur Sanders, or, and I'm not going to be Mary Kay going down on the owner of the franchise. I'm not going to do that. I am going to calmly explain what's wrong. We start out by sharing Kenny Atkinson's press conference, or the very beginning of it, after the debacle against the Dallas Mavericks. And that's where we start. So I'm adding this, and we should be ready to go. So this is how the press conference began.
Kenny, given where you guys are at in the calendar, what the roster looks like right now, just the playoffs approaching, how concerning the loss do you think?
I think it reminds kind of, you could look at my post-game comments against Orlando, right? Very, very similar. I think it's a very, very similar game, just too permissive on the defensive end. And I just told the guys, and it starts with that first unit, right? Just not good enough defensively. They never felt us. They got comfortable, they got confidence. And then, we start to have it was kind of the same story, right? And we got really good defenders in that lineup. So kind of a mile away. It was inexcusable defensive effort today. But give them credit. Give Dallas credit. I just thought their energy level was higher, but when your energy level is not there, sometimes you have games where it's not there. Now you have to use your kind of savvy and experience and be in the right positions. You might not have a game where you're super active, and that happens. But there were way too many mental breakdowns. So you combine those two things, right? The physical, I don't think we're at peak physically for whatever reason. And then you add the mental breakdowns, and that's how you give up 130.
All right.
Wow.
So that's the head coach's explanation, and I can't say that I disagree with it in any way, shape, or form. I don't disagree with that.
You want me to say something here?
Sure. Feel free.
He talks like William Shatner when he's trying to explain something that we all just saw, and we know that it was bad, and they didn't try, and it was a Sunday afternoon game, and they're always shit on Sunday afternoon games. Yeah, I mean, he's the one who picks the starting lineup, god damn it. Why don't you fire people up?
Well,
there's Serena.
Yeah. And this was Donovan Mitchell after the game, after he showered up. All right. So let's see.
He's a good looking fella.
Yeah. I mean, let's hear what I'm going back to the beginning of this. Here we go.
Max comes back after after 6 months of rehab and has the game that he has tonight, just like what does that mean for this group?
He's put in so much time and effort, and
This
had
is
so
about
much
Max
dialogue
Strus.
and conversation about what it looks like for him. It's easy for a guy to get discouraged, right? And he's not the type to give up, but put yourself in a bad headspace. But to see him continuously work, obviously when I was out, we played pickup and played 1-on-1 and played 2-on-2, 3-on-3. So to see him do what he did tonight, it's the same thing he's been doing honestly for about 2.5 weeks. Y'all just haven't seen it. And that's the Max Strus we know. And the shooting was there, but it was the little things, the tip outs, the 2 threes he hit back to back off of our zoom action. I set up there for him, and then we set up. He set one and slipped to the corner. Like those are the things. Whether the shot's going or not, those are the things you miss with him. And obviously Sam has been phenomenal with that as well. So now that we have 2 of those guys, it's great to see him back and make us an even bigger threat.
Okay, so that's nice. A little homage to Max Strus, who did play a fine game coming back after 10 months off of the basketball court. But here is what he said next.
Is tonight, a night like tonight, also a reminder of when the postseason hits, how important he is?
1,000%, right? Like this was a bad loss, no doubt about it. However, understanding, we haven't had much adversity with the current group that we've had. We started off 6-0 or 7-1, whatever it was. Like it was all sunshines and rainbows. It's great, right? We have to kind of go through these moments and figure that out. We have time. We don't have time to delay this, but I think this is good for us. We'll figure these things out, and then also you're getting guys back. And the Max Strus, you're getting guys that are going to be really impactful for us come down the stretch. And obviously when we get JA back, will be huge as well. And same thing with Sam.
All right, so that's Donovan Mitchell's take, is that, hey, when we all got together to begin with, it was all
Rainbows.
and puppies, rainbows, and whatever, and Skittles. And that we were playing on basically the energy of being new and fresh together. And now after 10 games, it's not there right now. And he had a slip and said, we have time. That he said, well, we actually don't have time to really have to go through this. So we've got to figure this out. And I'm going to put all of this together in just a moment. But I think that this is the hardest part of doing a podcast when you're a fan. The problem is not since we brought James Harden over or Keon Ellis, the same issues have affected this team for the last couple of years. And the guy that you were just listening to is allegedly the leader of the team.
The leader of the team, yeah. So
he is the wrong person. It's like watching a movie where an actor is totally miscast. It was like when somebody seriously expected John Travolta to play John Gotti. Okay. It's like asking somebody to be something that you'd be incredulous to believe it. Donovan Mitchell is a very talented player. There's no question about that. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for his skill as a basketball player. I can say the same thing about Darius Garland. Say the same exact thing. And we have won a lot of games with those 2 on the floor and with the other pieces, Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. But we haven't accomplished what allegedly the owner wanted to accomplish, but he didn't spend all of this money just to put more money into his bank account like Jimmy Haslam does. He wants another championship. And it's really, that's what it is. And anything short of that is going to be perceived as failure. My question is this. If you're looking for talented players, and that's what you do, and you spend a lot of money on talented players who have never won dick when it comes to the ultimate prize of the NBA, you have to start looking at the players involved, and you have to say to yourself, these guys have played for multiple coaches. They've played in a lot of different circumstances with different teammates, and then slowly with more talented teammates, and they fail. Without exception, they fail.
Yeah, they fail in the middle of May.
And
Every time.
you have to ask yourself, what's wrong with the picture? So for me, here's what's wrong with the picture. Talented players want to play on talented teams so that they can get help to get into the playoffs and have that fabled run to a championship. People wonder, what is Schroeder doing in Cleveland? Well, he's been in 10 other places before Cleveland, folks. And this was an opportunity for him, hell yes, to get back onto a good team instead of wasting his time in Sacramento or in Atlanta or in the other places that he has been forced to play over the course of time. And this is his chance at playing for a winning team. Problem is that Schroeder never won a goddamn thing either. Let's talk Darius Garland. The people in Los Angeles are thrilled with the way he's playing. The other night, he put 25 points on the board, and he's playing well. Now, he's playing every other game still because his foot isn't completely healed, and they're not confident that it is going to be healed this season. However, he's playing well. But there's no expectation with the Clippers. None whatsoever. And he can get out there and run in an open floor and not be forced into a half-court offense by every team in his conference, because the other teams out there really like running up and down the floor. If the Clippers were truly a team that had hopes of making it in the playoffs, it would be Kawhi Leonard they would depend on, not Darius Garland. Kawhi at least has proven he can do it somewhere many, many moons ago. We don't have anybody on this roster who's proven they can do it anywhere, and not in the primes of their careers, not in the later part of their careers, never. So I sit back and I say, God, that you got to look at the head coach. And he's changing the chessboard like he's running through possible scenarios of how the board could possibly play out. And he's trying to find the right group that plays together.
Yeah, he's got like a chess engine, and he's running all the scenarios. And we've said this before, that he's just tinkering and doesn't know his best lineup and doesn't know what starting lineup to put out there. I'll let you finish your thought, and then I will say my thought on what the problem is.
Right. So I analyze all of this, put it all together, and there's more. There's Evan Mobley and his inability to suddenly hit free throws, his confidence going down the drain. Just like DeAndre Hunter's confidence went down the drain playing in this situation. Some players are happier, like Karis LeVert, just being able to put up a lot of points on the board. LeVert's hardly playing now in Detroit, but he liked being able to play 30 minutes a night and put up his 17, 18 points. It has earned him a lot of money, and God bless him. He's a professional, and he's got a skill set that is a rare skill set, as every player who really sticks in the NBA can say. They have a real unique skill set. But winning the ultimate games, not just game, but games, to get you into a position where you even have a chance to go into the finals, it requires dedication and not just self-dedication. Donovan Mitchell is a very good example of somebody who has put everything into his game, but he does not make a single player around him better. He's ball dominant. He makes amazing shots. He has amazing penetrating moves, but he never made anyone better around him.
Oh, you never hear that said about him ever.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the facts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's a great player. I'm not saying, oh, he sucks. Like a lot of fans are, oh, he sucks now. And no, that's not it. And James Harden.
Yeah.
James Harden is never going to make the people around him better. Never. He never has, and he never will. Look at all the teams he's played for. If the ball's not in his hands, what is he doing to make the team better? What is Donovan Mitchell doing if the ball is not in his hands to make his team better? And the answer is nothing. Nothing. They don't play great defense.
Exactly.
They save all of their energy of what's left in the case
For
of
the
Harden,
offensive end.
for the offensive end.
For swim moves and all that shit.
And Harden wants to do lazy behind the back passes, and he's turning the ball over, and he wants to put that Harden style on the game. And
Harden,
I don't.
You know what I call that when he does that? The Harden Globetrotter move.
Yeah, that's good.
He is the Harden Globetrotters. You can, and somebody will copy that, and that'll be all over the social.
Yeah, you've just coined
Harden
a phrase. Well, it's fair that you do it this time so you can suffer the indignity when you see some pimple acne laden
that's a
prick
good one. I'm
online.
use that one on social media to my 50 followers.
Do that,
wankers. But yeah, I know where you're going. Well, I kind of have an idea where you're going. Can I?
Sure.
My view on all this is that look at the great championship franchises over history, and one thing that I think that they have in common to these lesser ranked franchises is that those teams all had that signature captain, that signature leader that did make everybody better around him. Although LeBron James didn't have a C on his chest, he was clearly the captain of the Cavaliers. Cavaliers have never had a captain. But let's look at teams like the New York Yankees. They had Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig as captains. They're good. But they also had Thurman Munson. They had Greg Nettles. They had Ron Guidry. They had Don Mattingly. And they had Derek Jeter. And now they got Aaron Judge. These are all people that people looked up to on the team. And what they said goes. And when you have a team captain, then you have somebody to look up to. And in football in Europe, there's team captains, and they're usually the most vocal, the most experienced. They're not necessarily the most talented players, but they're the ones that are responsible for getting everybody to fucking play the game the way it should be fucking played. The Cavaliers, the big problem is that they've got people of all sort of the same talent ability. You could actually argue that Mobley and Mitchell and Harden all have kind of the same sort of level of high talent, but do they have the same level of captaincy in them? I don't think so. I mean, look at the Celtics. The Celtics, they don't have a captain now. I suppose you'd probably say Jaylen Brown was. Their last captain was Rajon Rondo. Not necessarily the best player, but probably the player that most motivated everybody. But they had Bob Cousy and John Havlicek and Paul Pierce as captain. I mean, that's what this team is. Nobody wants to be the real leader. I mean, Donovan Mitchell will come out and say last year that, I'm the leader of the team. Well, tell your team that. Tell the team that you're, put a C on my chest, and I'll tell you what. No one wants to take the responsibility.
Well, I can go
Lead
one
the
step
team on
further
the
and
court.
say that Jalen Tyson started blossoming and started really showing some
Yeah,
moxie.
he's got the character to be the captain. Jalen Tyson would actually make a good captain of the Cavaliers.
But you know what happened?
They fucking fucked with him. They
Who fucked with him? Who's got his arm around him?
Atkinson and
Donovan Mitchell. When they wanted to talk to Jalen Tyson after a game that he really made, he was the difference maker. There was Mitchell with his arm around him, sharing the screen, saying, "Yeah, that's my guy. That's my guy." You know something? I don't care how popular somebody is in a locker room. Somebody has got to cut the bullshit.
Exactly. And that's when, the Cavaliers are like one gigantic crab bucket in a sense that they don't let anybody have too much of the limelight, or they don't let anybody tell other people what to do. It's ridiculous.
Now, here I'm adding something because this is what the garbage that you're hearing on 92.3 The Fan, and it is garbage. Let me warn you up front that this is the type of thing.
I get angry.
There's nothing to get angry about, and we're going to go ahead and start this now for you.
About the Magic, fuck me.
Here we go.
The matchup that I'm most concerned about in the postseason is the Boston Celtics. That's given. I think everybody believes that, so that's not saying anything crazy. The matchup I'm second most concerned with. I got to tell you, I think it's Orlando. I really think I'm the second most concerning one is Orlando.
If the Orlando Magic concerns you, Ken, there's something wrong with your fucking team. Let's talk about the real shit. I don't care what you were worried about. If your stomach is a little queasy and nervous, take a shit. Go to the men's room and take a shit. Get it off your system. And I'll let him continue, but this is the kind of foolishness the Orlando Magic still don't have. Their second, third best player haven't for the majority of the year, and they're winning despite it. Go ahead, Ken. Sell me.
No. And if the playoffs started tomorrow, you play who? You play the Orlando Magic. It can be beneficial. Listen to me. It can be beneficial if you play them in the first round, go through that matchup. Because I think that, okay, if Detroit played, who do you think is going to come out of the eight? Like if they played Philly, Atlanta, Charlotte, whatever. I think that you have Detroit second round, right? When you take Detroit, I think that that's where you get to the Eastern Conference Final.
All right.
He's just riffing. I'm not paid to be on this program to riff. Like he's getting paid money to just talk bullshit.
It's like, why would you think that the Detroit Pistons are in any better a position than the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No,
you stupid fuck. Why?
They don't have a captain either, God damn it. They
No,
got Cunningham and Duran.
They folded like a cheap tent against the Cavaliers. This is not a great basketball team when it comes down. What are they going to do? They're going to come down to the playoffs and they're going to look at Duncan Robinson and say, okay, man, do your thing. Do you honestly think, right now, Duran is the guy who's playing, is Duran and Cade Cunningham. But are you going to, if you're behind against a good team, are you going to trust the 32% shooting, 3-point shooting Cade Cunningham to lead you back from behind?
No, he's like Trae Young, only less insect-like.
No, he's strong. He's a big, strong guy. He can get to the basket. And in close games where defense is the name of the game.
As far as clutch and, winning anything.
They're going to get run up and down the floor just like the Cavaliers are because J.B. Bickerstaff doesn't know how to play that style of basketball, and that's the style of basketball that's being played today. But again, when we get to the playoffs, this is what I'm most concerned about. Now, What I'm most concerned about is that this team is no closer and maybe further away than it was before. Because as each season begins with some kind of hope, it is dashed by the same elements. The first is injury.
Yep.
The second are two players, Dean Wade and Jared Allen, whose injuries last 3 times the duration of an average player with the same injury. That's the second thing. The third thing is they play listlessly and they try to come back at the end of games. They get real close. Sometimes they pull it out and sometimes they don't. And then they just go into the dumper and they fall behind by 20 points to the Dallas Mavericks and can't come back because they don't have the spirit in their souls to dig themselves out the right way. They want to dig themselves out by chucking up threes and hoping they provide avalanches, but you got to play the whole game.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen this team play 4 solid quarters in a goddamn long time.
Oh, that's not happened at all.
And not consistently. That's for damn sure. So I'll let this guy finish.
I still think they're on a good path to the Eastern Conference Finals. Orlando is tough. I think it'll battle test you. I think we'll know a lot about this team and the future of this team right off the rip, first round as they sit right now. It's not bring on the Yankees. It's not bring on, I'm not saying that about the Magic. That's not what I'm pointing out. But we're going to find out a harsh truth. Either I'm going to be right, because I think that they're a great matchup against Detroit. I really think that Detroit really can't handle it. As long as you're healthy, I think Detroit really can't handle your stuff. I think it's a bad matchup. However, you get to that second round, I think it's good to take on Detroit. I think you're going to have a very tough series on your hand against Orlando. I think it's going to be very difficult, but I think it'll battle test you throughout the rest of the postseason, and I'll let the chips fall where they may against the Boston Celtics. That's
all right. So the chips are never going to make it to Boston. Okay.
Exactly. I mean, if there's anybody from the fan watching this, I'd quite happily do his job for as long as I don't have to leave my house. I can remote in and I'll fucking talk the same amount of bullshit that he is, and for half the money.
I mean, just making things up as you go along. And if you want to play out the playoffs in your head, I understand that. I understand, but on what basis do you believe that Paulo Banchero, who can't shoot 3-point shots and could only go to the rim, okay, and you have Suggs, who is as injury prone as any Cavalier who's ever played in history of the organization?
Oh, yeah, he's Lonnie Chisenhall.
And he is their tough defensive stopper, and he's taking one step away from just wiping out his leg again and being out of there. And he can't shoot for shit. Suggs can't shoot a 3-point ball to save his soul. I don't know if you believe that, a big Nazi in the center position, Mo Wagner, is going to give you meaningful minutes off the bench just to push people around. And you have a couple of good games that you're playing, but if you can't shoot, you're not going to win. The possessions in the game are so short, the pace is so quick, you can't afford to have a bunch of 30% 3-point shooters on the floor simultaneously, unless you think you can get 2-point shots at will and play rugged defense. Nobody has ever told me in all of my time of doing this program that the Orlando Magic are what this guy just said. They're defensively tough. Fuck that. No. Where does this come from? I mean, do you watch these games?
No.
Oh, yeah, there's just no truth to it whatsoever. So the problem is not in our stars, it's in ourselves. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, in a non-Shakespearean way, they have caused their own demise, more like a Greek tragedy, like Othello. They just, and some people say, well, they're soft. What I will tell you is this: everybody on the team is soft because nobody is stepping forward to take
Yes.
over a role that is necessary in the
Yeah,
organization.
there's nobody taking responsibility. Donovan Mitchell didn't take responsibility. Atkinson didn't take responsibility, and you can't expect the young kids to take responsibility because
Right.
there's a character flaw in this team, big time.
For a
That's
lot of
what it
teams,
is.
there's a lot of players who were great players in the NBA.
But they're not great leaders.
That's just it. And for the people who out there who are just going to watch this after the program's live, which is like 98%,
90%.
yeah, you want to talk shit about LeBron James when he's the only one who delivered. I mean, do you really think that when Shaq was with the Cavs, he was a fucking boat anchor? Please. I mean, LeBron James carried everything on his broad shoulders, and he delivered a championship.
And he told people what he wanted, out of them. On the team.
You'd want out too if you were LeBron. You'd want to take your talents anywhere that he wanted help. He didn't want to carry Donyell Marshall. He didn't want to have to carry Eric Snow. He didn't want to have to keep. Yeah, he didn't want to have to keep dealing with gambling Damon Jones. He didn't want that. He wanted to go where he could be with D. Wade. He wanted to be. Now the name slipped out of the back. Chris Bosh. Yep. He wanted. He wanted to be one of three. Just like, hey, I just want to get out of a vacation, man, because the weight on my shoulders of carrying the entire Northeast Ohio population, it's exhausting. And
it's exhausting, Mark. I'm tired of carrying
if you don't understand that, you just
do the Ironside voice for that.
Like, Mark, I'm sick and tired of carrying the entire population of Northeast Ohio. With my leg problem, which is not really a problem, I can't walk at all. I couldn't carry Ashtabula's population. So, yeah. So in the midst of all of this, with this headline struck me as absolutely bizarre. According to sources on ESPN, the NBA is set for the first vote in Las Vegas, Seattle league expansion. All right, get this. Industry executives project proposals in the $7 to $10 billion range for each team and estimate that both markets would be among the NBA's top 8 revenue generators.
7 to 10 billion?
Yep.
You could buy 2 fucking domes for that.
Now, listen to what they're saying. The market appeal of Las Vegas and Seattle, plus the parity-friendly collective bargaining agreement, will likely lead to a robust purchase market for expansion. First of all, the market appeal of Seattle wasn't very appealing when they moved it to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I mean, if they consider Oklahoma City more hip than Seattle.
Did they really think that all of the fans are wet behind the ears and we have no fucking collective memories? Come on. But the thing that kills me more than anything else, these franchises are being targeted to start play in the 2028-2029 season.
Oh, God. They'll be like the Browns.
Let me ask a simple question. Besides the obvious answer, I'll answer now, and that's that $7 to $10 billion range. It's revenue for the league, and they want to expand so they can make more money, so the owners will stuff more money in their pockets, yada, yada, yada. But where is the goddamn talent going to come from? We've got half of a league. Half of the NBA sucks. They're not competitive. From every night to night, they're not any good. They have no chance of going anywhere in the playoffs. And their fans stop going to the fucking games because they're terrible. And they're playing in front of half-empty arenas. And they start with the Wizards and the Hornets and the who God only knows.
And now it's the Mavericks too.
The Kings, the Mavericks, the teams who are always mentioned in the same breath tanking. All right. Why in the world a draft that's 2 rounds where everybody acknowledges that if you don't have a top 10 pick, you're not going to get anybody who's really going to immediately help your team.
Yeah.
And as far as how many guys out of the 2 rounds, how many players actually stick in the NBA to become anything that helps a franchise become a winning franchise?
Yeah.
And the answer is that's such a small percentage that it's not even worth discussing. And if you have a top 10 pick, it still doesn't matter. You could end up with Sagana Job. Okay? So shut the fuck up.
Anthony Bennett.
You know, you're going to choose what people have done since time immemorial. It's like they chose who? And if you look at the people in the NBA today and the guys in the G League who are like top 10, 15 picks who never amounted to anything, even tanking if you're choosing the wrong guys, or if half of the guys are from Europe now.
Oh, they're from all over the world. They're from South Sudan. They're from fucking Australia. They're from China.
Yeah.
You know, they're from everywhere, man.
And you know, so we saw Cooper Flagg, and he's a nice player.
Cooper Flagg is damn good. I was wondering what Tommy Heinsohn would say about Cooper Flagg. I mean, like,
you know what he would say. I've been telling you this over and over again. A guy named Cooper is going to be a hell of a lot more effective in the NBA than a guy named, you can fill in.
No. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Not going to go there.
Oh,
So
he's the real deal, man. I was like wondering what all the fucking hype was, but seeing him yesterday, he made mincemeat out of the weak sauce Cavalier defense. He just fucking pummeled our ass, raped us on a Sunday. So yeah,
I don't know so you're going to put 2 more teams in the league when half of the teams are failing in the league as far as success is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, having 30 team leagues is just nonsense because of the mismatching of the it's not the right sort of even number. You need like 32 or 16 or whatever. But what they should desperately have in American sports is relegation, where you have a top division of 16 teams and you have a lower division of 16 teams and you have movement between the two, and those teams all just play their own 16 in their division. And that would make it so much more entertaining, but nobody wants to do that because the lesser franchises would get lesser money. And
yeah, it's all about stuffing money in the pockets of the owners. That's what this is all about. It's what it's always
2 G League team, all-star G League teams, one in Vegas and one in fucking Vancouver or somewhere. You know, I mean, what is the fucking point?
Well, I mean, well, the NFL's already starting to reach out to Europe, for God's sakes. You know, how about the Warsaw Poles?
The Warsaw Poles, yes.
I mean, this has to end somewhere, but the product is too thin.
Yeah, I mean, it gets back to a general point that there is no such thing as infinite growth. You know, like, we're going to grow our GDP 3% forever. Well, it's not going to happen. Everybody, every corporation, every business, every industry, NBA, NFL, they all run up against a wall where you cannot grow any further, you cannot market any further, and you cannot go beyond what you have, and then you start declining. That's
I don't
finite.
understand what Terry Williams is saying. Why would you say,
We
I'm-
are.
get off my lawn? I don't understand. And what he said before is these and I think he means guys, will destroy any teams from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. How about the idea that the coaching sucks? All right, let's talk about that, Terry Williams, 4441.
He's not wrong on that.
Did I say that teams from the 70s, 80s, and 90s could beat today's teams? I didn't say that.
No.
So you're putting words in my mouth. In fact, I'm saying that the players are incredibly talented.
Yeah,
But
and they got so much more medical and dietitian advice, and they're not all boozing after every game,
and it's why the draft is as shallow as it is, because it's harder to make the NBA to crack through than it used to be. I mean, there was a time when a guy like the guy from the Spokane College, what's the school up there, the college that was ranked in the top? Gonzaga. It's like getting Morrison from Gonzaga. I mean, the guy was a fucking Muppet. All right. That's what my feeling is about, mid-major, that kind of, college basketball player isn't going to have a chance because it has become an elite skill set. So, there is no comparison to the NBA now to the NBA in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah, and the NCAA is not training college basketball players. They're getting the one and done, really talented guys, and they end up being 19 years old, Cooper Flags playing in the NBA straight away. And the good players aren't coming from the NCAA. They're coming from Europe, and they're coming from fucking high school. God damn it.
And some of them are coming from academies that are really breeding grounds.
Oak Hill or whatever it is.
Yeah, breeding grounds for professional athletes. So again, and as far as the coaching sucks, Terry Williams, 4441, you try. If you're Kenny Atkinson, we'll use him as an example.
Let's try to motivate the modern athlete. God damn it!
Yeah,
How do you do that? How do you fucking do that?
And Terry, if you're a Lakers fan, which you might be, you ask JJ Redick what it's like trying to really coach up Luka.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask yourself that? It's not that the coaching sucks, it's that the athletes have more power than the coaches have.
You can just look at Redick and go fuck yourself.
Yeah, the San Antonio Spurs of the past would never exist today because the coach, the players would conspire to have him run over by a tractor. It would never happen.
Yeah.
So
that's why we need a captain out on the fucking court, because that's how you have leadership. There's no real. If Donovan says one more time he's the leader, and I don't see a C on his chest, I'm gonna fucking vomit. So if you're gonna say you're the leader, then be the fucking leader. Is my advice.
And Terry went away. Terry's one of those hit and run guys.
There you go. Well, maybe he's got better things to do. Look at.
I would hope so, because I would hate to think that somebody's sitting in front. What time is it? Is it time for the Moohead Show? I would hope that's not the case for anybody.
Hey, that's why I have notifications on my phone, so I don't sleep through the goddamn thing.
Except I could become very popular amongst a quadriplegic audience.
Mark.
Yes.
Mark.
Mark, could you just set this on the address that this thing's going to be on, please, so I can watch this twice a week? Yeah. And Jeffrey is saying, why is Wade still getting a lot of minutes? I don't understand it.
No one does.
I don't think right now there isn't a starting lineup. There isn't a
There isn't a
cogent
lineup.
rotation. There's no cogent rotation.
No, I
And
mean Keon Ellis, he had a stinker yesterday.
yeah, but
He-
again, the second that you ask more of players than what they had, stop and think about what you
Doesn't
noticed
happen.
about Keon.
Yeah,
And
he
yes,
fell apart because it was started.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's because he can't finish at the rim except if
Correct.
it's a slam dunk. He can't finish in the paint, and he gator armed at least 3 balls in the paint
Yeah.
because he's uncomfortable being in the tall trees. There's no question about that. But he is a role player who can be a valuable pressure defender. There's a lot of players on this roster who are like that. But if Keon is not playing defense and shooting threes, he really has no business being on the floor. The same thing is true of Sam Merrill. If you're not kicking the ball from spot to spot, from station to station, very fast and very efficiently, that a guy like Sam Merrill is worthless. He is a guy who needs space, not to dribble the ball, but what James Harden and his fuzzy beard need to do, and Donovan Mitchell, is to get people to double team them and get the ball instead of, the pick and roll to Jared Allen. And then you notice that they've stopped passing altogether. Harden, the only guy he wanted to pass to was Jared Allen. And, is go into the paint because you know that Harden can do that and he can finish, but kick the ball out where they come in and collapse. And that's what they were doing. That's what the Mavericks were doing. It's like kick the ball out to the people who can hurt them. And that way you don't wind up, having droughts like they're having offensively. But you can't have ball dominant guys. And then you have Schroeder, who I don't even think should be getting any minutes. Wow. I don't think that he's competent. In this setup, he dribbles the ball far too much. He's not a good shooter, and he lacks the lift to even get the ball high enough on the backboard half the time on layups. The other thing is, the second that Evan Mobley has success down low, 2 things will happen. Right. Why don't you line them up then and let them start out the game shooting 3-point shots and let them brick a few? That's really brilliant. And then when J.A. comes back after 13 months because he has a hangnail, you're going to put him like a pillar of salt into the lane, and then Mobley will be forced to dribble the ball, which is a turnover in waiting.
Fucking Najee Marshall kicked our ass yesterday. Najee Marshall.
People whipping their ass on the backboards. There was no effort. There was no effort being made. I'm going to finish up the program with another complaint because this.
Get off my lawn.
Go
fuck yourself. We haven't done real good go fuck yourself today.
No, we really haven't. All right.
It's almost like when Harden and Mitchell are both on the floor at the same time. They take turns as to who's going to be the one to have the ball and have the shot. And that's what it's starting to appear like to me. That they're kind of trading off so that the other guy can have a rest during that possession. So, I don't know. It's not looking good.
So, the next thing, I always looked for my favorite time of the year. I used to say was, March Madness. And I would say that, the race that starts to the national championship in NCAA basketball is the ultimate potential David over Goliath that the reason people spent millions of dollars on a shit fuck movie like Rudy, all right, was because people want to root for the underdog. Rocky Balboa was so popular because people wanted to root for the underdog. Yeah. People don't want to sit there and watch the Lakers and the Knicks and whoever every fucking year and hear about only the big market teams. People want to cheer for underdogs. People went nuts when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. There is something about a story about and with Buster Douglas, his mother had died.
Yeah.
His mother died, and he was motivated for the first time in his life to really get in shape and to overcome getting knocked down by Iron Mike Tyson. Now, he found the courage that the Cleveland Cavaliers don't have in their souls.
Yeah.
But that's what we're really cheering for. What we're cheering the championship for LeBron James isn't just LeBron James. People get confused. It's like Kyrie hitting the big shot. It was like Caleb moving his feet and staying with Steph Curry in those closing seconds to prevent him from launching a significant three-point shot.
Yeah,
it was
J.R. Smith and Shumpert playing out of their skin. Yeah.
And it wasn't LeBron down the stretch who took the game over offensively. He made an incredible blocked shot that helped them win in a different way. But everybody contributed. And even on that play, J.R. Smith he delayed that layup.
Yeah.
Just, Iguodala's layup.
Yeah, got in the way of him. Yeah.
Just long enough so that LeBron could get in there and knock that ball before it hit the backboard. We cheer for underdogs. And the reason that the USA amateur hockey teams win over the Soviet Union was such a big deal was because of that. We want the little guy to have a break. But see, we're living in a different time now. And we have leadership, we have government people. Everything is done for the big guy. Nothing's being done for the little guy. The little guy who's a sports fan has been relegated to gambling what little money they have on sporting events that are practically rigged in every instance as far as the outcomes of these things in the long run.
Like player parlay and find out that your player's tanking that day because somebody rang him up and told him to feign an injury in the second quarter.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're betting on.
and for me, it's like I want to see the little schools in the NCAA tournament. And, to me, I was an alumnus of Miami of Ohio, and it was great seeing them finish the season out undefeated, but then they lost in the MAC playoffs. And the NCAA people recognized 3 MAC teams made it into, or 3 Ohio teams, I should say, 2 MAC teams and Ohio State made it into the final 64, well, the final 68. And that's my point. What kind of congratulations is that for the Miami, and I want to say the Redskins, but I'm not allowed to because that's what we called them in the day.
The Red Hawks.
Yeah, the Red Hawks. What is it that they had to do? And they barely by the skin and the hair and their chitty chins made it into the final 68. And they're rewarded for this great season that they had coming out of the MAC by being one of 4 teams who are part of a play-in tournament.
They get to play an extra game and tire themselves out for when they play against a 5 seed or whatever it is, 11-5, I think it is. Or
don't the big schools have enough of an advantage as it is?
No,
they have recruiting advantages, and I love what the people are saying. Well, Miami of Ohio, they don't have the players. Of course they don't have the players. They don't have the budget. They can't recruit people like Duke can. Get over it. Well, I mean, what's the matter? People are cheering a war where innocent people are being bombed. I don't get it. It's like the big guy. And it's like, God almighty. What happened to the spirit of the way we view our athletics that we just want the big guys to win all the time? Yeah. And and I looked at the brackets, and the teams are going to get wiped out because now the differential between the big schools, the well-funded schools, and the little guys is an impossible gap to close.
Yeah.
You would be hoping for one game where a team could pull a great upset, but you're not going to look at this team's going to go through 4 games in the tournament and they're going to knock off one big team after another. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, they got to play 6 games to win. And in Miami's case, 7 games. It's not going to happen. I mean, for anybody who cares, I've picked Michigan to win the tournament, and I'm a life member of the Ohio State Alumni Association. So that's what I think is going to happen.
If you want to watch the Miami Redhawks play, all right, and this will tell you everything you need to know. They're playing SMU, and SMU's favored to win. And I watched my Redhawks play this year. They were fun to watch. They were great 3-point shooters, but they just don't have the athletes. Plain and simple, they can't compete on the big stage. But the stage that they occupied, they did what they had to do. And SMU isn't the world's greatest team either, but they have a higher caliber of athletes.
Yeah, they got money to spend on NIL, whereas Miami of Ohio would not.
But if you want to watch that game, you know how you can watch it?
How can you watch it? I think it's on tomorrow night.
Yep, sure is at 9:15 p.m. For all you, if you're interested in Ohio sports, the Redhawks play SMU at 9:15 on True TV.
God damn! Is that like when Turner's like 5th channel, like TNT 8 or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're relegated to absolutely nothing.
Wow.
I just, for the life of me, it's like, what is the reward? So the guys on that team will grow up to be accountants or whatever they're going to be in life, and they'll always be able to remember the undefeated season. But it's kind of like you get to the tournament, which is the big dream of being in the dance, and you turn on the show to see where you're in the bracket, right? And they make you wait, and they make you wait because they have all of these numbers that they analyze.
Yeah.
And the numbers are designed to weed out all kinds of teams and to let teams that have lost 13, 14, 15 games in the season to leapfrog over them because of analytics. That's what it's all about. And they put you on True TV, and they're watching on TV that they barely made the Final Four. In essence, they're the add-ons, and they have to watch some guy on the NCAA divulging program look at the camera and say to Miami of Ohio, "Hey there, fuck your mother.
Go fuck yourself.
Just go fuck yourselves. Everybody in Oxford, Ohio, fuck you. Good night, everybody."
What they're saying is that if it was a 64 team bracket, Miami wouldn't have been in it.
That's right.
That is what they're saying.
Yeah. It's I don't understand. And one person is asking me, who do you want the Browns to draft at number 6? I don't care.
Yeah,
they got to get a wide receiver. I mean, if they're, I don't want them to get a quarterback. We don't need a quarterback because we've got 3 people to choose from. And if those 3 aren't good enough, then you just have to live by the sins of the organization because we don't have a proper quarterback. But God damn it, if you don't have wide receivers who can catch the fucking ball, you're never going to get a quarterback. I mean, if it's not draft, if you want to lure a player, you're never going to lure them into a team that has receivers that literally are like their hands are bound together by paper mache.
Yeah, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. So I don't care. I want it to be a wide receiver, and I want it to be a larger wide receiver, not a speed guy. And
I want to see us get a can't miss Pro Bowler. I don't even care what position it is. If there's some guy that drops to us at 6 that like a Khalil Mack or Roquan Smith or anybody, there's always some guy between 5 and 10 that's a surefire Pro Bowler, somewhere on the field. I'd love to get somebody like that. We always pass on them.
I'm sure that Andrew Brown also has no problem trading down because he does every time.
Yeah, we got to go get the number 22 pick like we have. That's our pick.
And he always picks the wrong guy anyway because there's always people up on the board that were available and they miss them consistently.
Oh, that reminds me of something I was going to say earlier. The other day, I think it was 2 days ago, was the 7th year anniversary of what momentous Cleveland sports event?
The 70th?
Seven years. Only 7 years ago.
7 years ago would have been, that would have been 2019. You're asking me what happened for which team?
All right, I'm going to tell you then. We traded away Jabril Peppers and some draft picks to the New York Giants and got Odell Beckham, and we all decided, 90% of the Browns fan base suddenly decided we were going to go to the Super Bowl that year, and that was only 7 years ago. It feels longer to me, but I mean, that's the sort of shit that this franchise has done, Not that Jabril Peppers was worth hanging on to, far from it, but certainly Odell Beckham Jr. was as star-crossed as any Shakespearean tragedy in character.
We've drafted a lot of bad players, and
we traded for a lot of bad players.
We're living proof that a bad owner can fuck up. I mean, he could be in an orgy with the most beautiful women in the world and still find the ugly pup. He's just not there. And I don't know what the problem is because I'm not inside that.
If he wasn't there, it's when he's actually in the room and he gives his approval for draft picks. That's when it goes wrong, So I've said everything I want to say, and it's not that I want to be a negative Nelly here or a Debbie Downer. The Cavaliers to me are a team that doesn't have a leader. Yeah, they lack character. They fucking lack character in a big, fat, furry way, man.
And to tell you how bad it is, there isn't a player on the Cleveland Cavaliers roster that can compare in leadership to Jalen Brunson in making big plays when necessary, or even a healthy Hart off the bench to play the big, dirty defensive minutes. We've got not even that. And the Knicks have no chance of winning the championship at all.
Whatsoever.
So and I know that Detroit is trying to swell up its chest and say they have some tough guys, but how tough are they when they really go up against good teams? And will they be able to, and that's the word, Ron Shane. The word is accountability. Yeah. Who is going to stand up and be the leader of men amongst men and tell people, your daughter's ugly?
Yeah,
who's going to give them the horrible truth about their situation?
That's
exactly.
What it takes. We're not playing the Washington Generals, and we're not the fucking Harden Globetrotters, I mean, we gotta. This is a real league with a real game, and it's not a show, man. We just need to be serious and get in people's faces.
All right, everybody. I appreciate the people who come and watch the live program.
We love you.
And I also thank I thank everybody who watches the archives. Feel free to
people who don't watch us, go fuck yourselves.
feel free to comment on the programs or say whatever you want to say. If you want to say that, get off my lawn. If that makes you hard, then that's good. Whatever it is that makes you happy, I'm good with it. I'm just grateful after 25 plus years to still be broadcasting and to still be here. And if I'm looked upon as being the old and gray guy of the bunch, that just means that I've survived.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of shit. And
So-
and as far as lawns go, you're in a gated community, and I have 13-foot stone walls over my lawn. So you're not gonna fucking get on my lawn in the first place. So
And I totally agree with that. And so, everybody, have yourself a good rest of your Monday. Enjoy your week. We'll be back again on Friday. And we'll see what happens because we have a road trip with the Cavaliers. I think it's going to fall apart. And nothing at this point, nothing surprises me. Let's sit and wait and see. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
Moo, moo.
Moo.